How we doing, guys? Fly I'm going to tie here for you this evening is what I like to call the loch stone goat. I learned about this pattern from a man known as the loch fly fisher. In my opinion, is one of the best I've seen around for tying flies that are outright fish catchers, especially in the hulls, especially down around Galloway and that. This man he knows what he's doing. He's a genius. I hold him in the highest regard. Andy, if you see this video, pal, as always, I'm ever thankful. I'm tying on a Kamasan B175 size 12 this evening. Tying silk that I'm using is red uni-thread size 80, and what I've done there is I've just tied down the hook, touch and turns, tied in a flat silver tinsel. Oh, that nearly went that's up there. Just managed to salvage it. Flat silver tinsel tag tied on the ears. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to apply a drop of varnish to it. Just a wee drop of varnish at the back of it. And what this does is just whenever the trout are nipping and pulling at the fly, this protects your tag. So there we are. Just a wee drop or two of varnish. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to whip finish off over that hook. I'm going to introduce one that I've prepared earlier that's already been varnished and dried. That one's a mess. I'm not going to lie to you, that's a fucking mess. If that was me, I would throw that away just as well. I've got one already pre-prepared. There we are. That's one that's already been tied in properly, as they say, and varnished. I'm just going to tie back down the shank of the hook in touch and turns. Trim away that excess. There we are. Now, the tail of this fly is golden pheasant crest. That's the feather there, purchased from Grizzle. Now, I'm going to tie this fly in that unorthodox style again, so I'm going to leave the tail a lot longer than this fly would normally be tied. I need to be brutally honest with you. I've tied this fly in proportion, and I've fished it in the exact same locks that I fish right now, and the exact same pattern, only tied in proportion to the hook size. Everything looking nice and neat and beautiful, and it's not worked. It doesn't work. And then whenever I discovered the unorthodox style of tying wet flies, especially for fishing them in a big ripple, I retied the fly, and I tied it with the hackles and all that way oversized, and my god, what a fish catcher this pattern can be. The way myself and the whole loch fisher, etc., and my pals would tie this fly isn't the traditional way of tying it. It's slightly different, slightly modified, but in my opinion, this the way this fly works sometimes is I can't explain it to you. The best thing that I could say to you is tie them up, get out there wherever it is you're fishing for wild trout, wait until there's a big wave in the water and pull this through the wave. Do you see what happens? It's phenomenal. It's one of my favourites. I've fished this in the Galloway hulls. It works amazing. Responsible for a hell of a lot of fish. And I've also fished it in the Highlands, Loch Ba, and all our lochs up around that area, Oban, Glencoe, Fort William direction, and it works just as well up there too. It's brilliant. What I've tied on there just is a copper wire rib. The only reason that I'm using copper was because I went in the materials box, and the copper spool was the first one that I put my hand on. That's the only reason I'm using copper. It can be tied with silver, it can be tied with gold, it can be tied whatever you have confidence in. But what I'm showing you here just is the general idea of the pattern. But and this is once again, this is another one of those. It catches a lot of fish. I mean a lot. There's no point in me sitting here trying to bum the fly up or this and that and the other. I can vouch for it. The pals, the boys that I go fishing with, John Wilson, Kenny Mullen, Chris Gordon, these boys, they all fish it too. They've seen it in action. We all know what the fly does. What I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to show you the patterns that when you're away fishing wild waters, and especially if you're away in the right conditions with a nice grey sky and a good wind blowing, a nice ripple in the water. These is the kind of flies that you want to go with. I don't care what anybody else says. If you're standing, or there's a boy standing fishing beside you with proportionally tied flies, and you're fishing these, I don't care what anybody says. If you're using these kind of flies, you're catching more fish than that man all day long. They're just that good. They really are. What I've done there was I waxed my tinsel, applied some black seal sphere to the thread, and I've just wound it down there in nice tight turns along the bottom of the fly. Now, boom, boom, boom. The traditional stone goat would be tied with 3 hackles in the body: a black hackle, a claret hackle, and a magenta hackle. Now, see, when you tie on that many hackles into the body of a fly, it can become quite bulky. So it can. Not only that, you need to remember this is a wet fly. It's not a dry fly. You don't want it sitting on top of the water. See, you tie three hackles onto any fly. Whenever you cast it out, after a couple of feet casts, it's going to sit up on top of the water like a dry fly. So it is. Now, fishing loch style, that's depending on the conditions and what the trout are feeding on. Sometimes you might want it, sometimes you might not. The way I like to fish this fly is stripping it through the big ripple. So whenever this fly hits the water, you want it falling into the subsurface layer of the water. And by that, what I mean is the top 12 to 6 inches of the water. So when it hits the water, you want it to drop down. So my way around using the 3 hackles in the body was, I found this nice little cape. Actually, I'm a liar, I didn't find it. One of my pals found it, Chris Gordon. He got it from Warren View down in Kilmarnock. It's a dyed magenta grizzle hackle. So what I find what this does is this puts the black claret and the magenta element in the body of the fly, but without using 3 feathers, you're only using 1 feather. Now, as always, I put my first 2 turns around the top of the fly and then just work your way down. Nice, even touching turns. Try and get in at least 4. And then pull your copper wire around. When you do that, just make sure it's not pulling your tail out from where you want it to be. Right, get that around. Hold the hackle in that hand, punch your wire in that hand, and just lock it in. Boom, there we go. That's sitting beautiful. In my mind, that's sitting beautiful. And then just wiggle your copper wire through the hackle fibre so that you're not trapping any of them fibres under the body. And once you come to the top, pull them fibres back, lock it off. Now that's it. And that's your body hackle secured. Any fibres that are sticking forward, just pull them back. 1, 2, boom. That's that sorted. There you go. That's that. Just trim away the excess. Because it's a copper wire rib you're using, you can pinch that and it'll just break. And there we go. We have that lovely swooping tail and that unorthodox oversized body hackle. Now, if you think that's oversized, would you see what's coming next? But believe me, you need to trust me in this, guys. This works phenomenally. It really does. Now, what I'm going to add next is a peacock neck filler. Look how beautiful that is. You'll have seen me time this before, but that's what it is, peacock neck filler. Just pull the fibres 90 degrees at a right angle from the stalk of the feather, tease that off. There we go. Right. This is the part now where you need to go against everything that you've been taught or you know about fly tying when it comes to hook sizes and proportions and that, and just see your body hackle. You want them way longer than the body hackle. Maybe lining up with the top of the tail of the fly. That looks about good to me. What you want to do, roll them fibres around the shank of the hook. Punch your tines up between your finger and your thumb and pull them down, and then just roll them around. And then just maneuver them on the position of where you want them to be. Trim away the excess. And then repeat the process. So, same again, the other side of the feather. And you can use as much or as little of it as you want. I like to use a lot of it just because the colour is so vibrant and it's such a soft feather. The movement that this gives off in the water is phenomenal. I'm going to do the same thing again. Line the tops up with the top of the tail. Roll those fibres with your finger and your thumb around the shank of the hook. Punch your tinsel and your finger and your thumb. Pull loosely and then just wind them around the shank. There you go. Now, there we are. Oh my god, I'm even getting excited just looking at that. Whenever I see that, I just know, wow, there's fish going to be caught. If you've a big ripple in the water, oh, take it from me, there's fish going to be caught. Right. Trim away your excess. Oofed. Jeez, look at the still that underneath the eye. Right, now, what you like to do is just tidy up the head of the fly. We still have one more hackle they had. Before I finish this fly, I would like to take this opportunity just to to say thanks to one of my close pals, a very, very good fishing partner of mine. You'll notice if you look back on my channel, some of my early videos, the time videos and the fishing videos, the quality is terrible. It's all fuzzy in the fishing videos. You can't, you get the gist of what's going on, but you can't really focus on the boys catching the fish. You can't focus on the fish. It's all blurry. And the same with the time videos. My time videos, the camera's positioned too far away from the vise. You can't see the quality. You can't see the technique that I'm using. You can't see the materials that I'm using properly. And the simple reason being is because I'm hopeless with technology. Oh, I just slipped there. Oh, we're there to see if we can salvage this. Right, while I'm trying to salvage this, I'll continue with my story. And then the man that I'm talking about, his name is John Wilson, and I fished the River Kelvin with him. He likes to refer to himself as the King of the Kelvin. But in my mind, I just see him as the mouthpiece of the Kelvin. And John, if you're watching, I mean every word of that. Nah, I'm only joking. I'm only kidding. John, when it comes to brown trout fishing in the River Kelvin, using the European nymphing technique, John is second to none. I have yet to see anybody that can catch brown trout in the River Kelvin the way he can. Now, but John went out of his road, took the time, put in the time and the effort with me, taught me how to use the camera on my phone correctly, the video element of it, how to get in the maximum picture, the maximum detail, and also how to take photographs correctly, so as that I could display my skills, or my lack of skills thereof, whatever way you want to look at it, but so as I could display it properly. So I just want to take this opportunity. If it wasn't for him, none of this ever would. This channel would never have started if it hadn't been for him. So John, I just want to take this opportunity, Paul, to say thanks. You're a star. I love you to bits and keep doing what you're doing. Now, the hackle that I've tied on there at the head of that, that's a black hen hackle. And I'm just locking that on there. There we go. Oh, jeez. I'm getting excited looking at this fly. So it's just, you don't understand just the way that it works. See this unorthodox, oversized style of flies. It's the last few weeks. I'll not fish with anything else. It's either this or nothing. So it is for me. I'm just going to tidy the head area up, just wind them back with all them hackles in, lock them in, and then you can maneuver all this to the way you want it to suit. Now, see that? Them big oversized hackles, that nice sweeping tail, the silver tag in the back. That's all the fish catching elements of the fly. And as I say, there's no point in me trying to explain it to you. Just get them tied up, tie it in this fashion. It might go against everything you believe in, or you might think that's not how you tie a fly. Well, you might be right, but tie them up and go out there and fish them. Do you see the results you get? And there you go. It's just 3 turns of a whip finish, and what I'm going to do now is just apply a generous dab of varnish in the head, and that's the fly done. That's it done. And I can assure you, whether you're fishing the lowlands, down round Galloway, all them lochs down round there, or whether you're in the Highlands, up round Oban, Glencoe, Fort William, even further up, I wouldn't be going without one of these in my box. As I say, I like to call it the Hull Loch Stone Goat. But anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up, leave comments on it, let me know what you think, blah blah blah, etc etc. If you can, subscribe to the channel. All the support that I've had off everyone else so far, it's greatly appreciated. I'll do my best to keep the action coming. But till next time, guys, tight lines and get tying.